manage their smokes.
Well, when Herbert takes me out to enjoy myself, I don't expect him to be outside finishing any smokes.
Perhaps they had something they wanted to talk over.
Well, they can talk about it here, can't they?
Well, Ruby, are they out there?
No, they aren't.
Did you look properly?
Well, I couldn't miss 3 grown men in a garden that size, could I?
Did you look up and down road like I told you?
Yes, but they aren't there.
Well, didn't you hear them go?
No, I was back in the kitchen all the time doing washing up. That Mrs. Northrop left me to it.
Where was she then?
Out here somewhere, I fancy. I know she's gone like a duck then ever since she come back, laughing to herself like a proper barn pot.
Well, ask Mrs. Northrop where they went. That noise you heard upstairs, that was a bit of Mrs. Northrop's work. One of my best dishes gone, and Ruby says she just left.
Well, just stop it out of her wages and see if she can get a laugh out of that. I've no patience with them.
I didn't think she looked a very nice woman.
One of them idle, drinking bits of nothing from back at mill.
Well, I was in a hurry and I had to have somebody, but she goes to need for good.
Right.
Mrs. Northrop said they wanted to have a nice quiet talk, so they went down to their club.
And tonight of all nights, I do think it's a shame.
I've never heard anything like it in life.
Nay, I don't know what's come over them.
I know what will come over one of them.
Perhaps there's something up.
Something down, you mean? Ale and stout and whiskey, all drinks all round, money, no object.
They're here.
Aye, well.
Well, what?
Well, now really.
We didn't think you'd be down yet, did we, Joe? Did we, Albert?
No, we didn't.
No, that's me. We didn't.
You must be wrong in your head, Herbert Soppet. Club.
And tonight of all nights.
Well, we just thought we'd nip down for a few minutes while you were upstairs talking.
What for?
Well, just to talk over 1 or 2 things.
What things?
Well, things, you know, things in general.
Well, I see tables all ready, so how about that nice little game of Newmarket?
You'll get no Newmarket out of me tonight.
You're yourself.
Oh, have you only just found that out? They think of nothing but their own comfort and convenience.
I'm surprised at you, Joe Helliwell. And after I planned to make everything so nice.
And a lot of thanks you get for it. Club. Well, go on, say something.
Just think what day it is.
Give it the best years of our life without a word of thanks.
If some of you woke up tomorrow and found you weren't married to us, be in for a few big surprises.
Yes, I dare say you're right.
You're very well. What's the matter with you tonight?
Now's wrong with me, love.
Just you wait till I get you home.
Yes, Clara.
You seem to think once you've married us, you can take us for granted.
Nay, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're all alike.
What were you saying about your cousin Clara?
Oh, well, the doctor said, acid, that's your trouble, Mrs. Foster. You're making acid as fast as you can go.
Oh, thing.
Oh, but I'm not surprised. Where she'd eat. I once saw her finish 9 oyster patties. It was after their apple got when she was finishing them all up. I said, me, have a bit of mercy on your insides, Edith. Oh, she just laughed.
And where are you going now?
Into the dining room.
What for?
Well, because, well, we've something to talk over. Albert, quick.
Now what's come over
There's something up.
Well, what can Mind you, I've a good mind to go in and say to mine, look, I've been married to you for 25 years, and it's about time I had a rest.
And in 2 things I'd say to Joe, if you got down on your bended knees and begged me to, I wouldn't stay married to you unless I had to.
I've done.
It didn't take you very long.
No, but then I'm a rare worker. There's many a one said to me, Mrs. Northrop, I can't believe you've just that pair of hands. You're a wonder.
I don't think I want to wonder here tonight, Mrs. Northrop. I'll pay you what I owe you, and then you needn't come again.
Oh, that's how it is it?
Yes, it is. I don't consider you satisfactory.
Quite right, too.
You mind your own interference.
I don't know what I was coming to, I don't answer.
I've stood here and worked for you tonight till my hands are red. And all you can do is complain. Well, I don't think I want to come here again anyhow. I don't think the husband will let me when he hears what I have to tell him. We've always kept ourselves respectable.
And what does that mean?
Don't encourage her impudence.
Oh, keep your remarks to yourself. I was beginning to feel sorry for you, but now...
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's she got in that bag?
I've got my cleaning stuff and my old boots and my apron in this bag.
I can see 2 bottles.
And what if you can? Do you suppose you're the only folk in Clecklewyke that can afford something to sup? These happen to be 2 stout empties I'm taking away with me because they belong to me. But I'm paid for by me in Jackson's off licence, and if you don't believe me, you can ask her.
No.
Let it be, Claire. We've had enough. I'll pay you what I owe you. It's 24 shillings, isn't it, Mrs. Northrop?
No, it isn't. It's 25 and 6 if I never speak another word.
Well, 25 and 6 then. But I'm taking something off for that dish you
You'll not take a damned apron off.
Language now as well as back answers.
Here's £1, Mrs. Northrop, and that's all you'll get.
Oh, not having. I'm not having.
There's £1, Mrs. Northrop, and that's all you'll get. Now, Clara, what were you saying?
Oh, don't sit there swanking. I've been round here too long, and I know too much about you, trying to look like duchesses. I remember when you were Maria Fawcett, and you were no but a burner and mender at Barkinson's before you took up with Joe Helliwell, and even over to Walsalter in them days. And I remember you when you were serving your father's greengrocer's shop at the corner of Park Road, weighing out apples and potatoes, and a mucky little shop it were and all.
Fetch my husband.
He's not your husband. I was going to say I'm as good as you are, but in fact I'm a damn sight more respectable because I'm a married woman, which is more than you can say.
Get a policeman!
Oh, get a dozen. They'll all have a good laugh when they hear what I have to tell them. I heard that organist of yours talking to them. I were behind that door, and it were better than a turn at the Empire.
Don't believe a word of it!
Oh, please, you're saying, but he had a letter, and that's why they've gone down to that club of theirs to talk it over, and I can't say as I blame them. And by Gale, you've got something to talk about and all, haven't you? Isn't it time you got yourselves wed? And you owe me 5 and 6. And if you've any sense, you'll see I get it. But I can't stop no longer, because I promised my husband that I would meet him down at the Hare and the Hounds, because they're having a draw for a goose for Clecklewyke tide, and we 3 tickets. So I'll say good night.
That's why there was queer. I knew there was something.
The daft blockheads! Oh, for goodness sake, Annie Parker!
Oh, but I'm not
one of them men must go and fetch her back.
Aye, that's right. Because if people get to know about this, well, we'll be absolutely...
Yorkshire Argus!
Oh, for goodness sake! We won't know Yorkshire Argus! God knows where we'll be!
Well, here we are again. At least I am. Fred Dyson, Yorkshire Argus. Mrs. Helliwell.
Yes?
And Mrs. Albert Parker. And Mrs. Soppy. 3 lucky ladies, eh? Now, you never guess my trouble.
You'd never guess ours.
Shut up, Annie! What were you saying, Mr. Dyson?
I've got a lost dad photographer, Henry Ormontroyd. I brought him up here with me earlier on. Then we nipped back to Lyon, where he met an old pal. I left him singing Larboard Watch in tap room, not 20 minutes since. I nipped back into the private bar 5 minutes afterwards. Couldn't find old Henry anywhere, and so I thought he must have come up here. By the way, where's the party?
Oh, this is it.
Shut up, Annie! My husband, Alderman Helliwell, you know him, of course.
Certainly. He's quite a public figure these days. That's why the Argus sent me up here tonight. When he told them you were all celebrating your silver wedding.
He said you were to come up here, did he?
I did.
He would.
Well, he didn't. No, then, I mean,
Our readers would like to know all about this affair.
Aye, and I'll bet they would.
have a bit of sense, Clara!
Now, you two, what on earth are you talking about? It's all right, Mr. Dyson. What Mrs. Helliwell is trying to say is, well, there's just the 6 of us. You know, it's not really a party, just a sort of, you know, a private sort of...
I know, just a cosy little do with, a few drinks.
That's it.
Aye, a few drinks. And a few cigars. And so on. Aye. Now then, Mrs. Helliwell, wouldn't you like to tell our readers just what your feelings are now that you're celebrating 25 years of happy marriage? You needn't be shy, Mrs. Helliwell.
Oh, now look what you've done, young man!
Yeah, dash it, what's up that done? I only asked her.
No. She's a little upset tonight. All the excitement, you know. We won't need a photographer. You go off and fight.
No, we don't want any photographers here, Annie!
Oh, it's all right. She's upset too now. You just pop off. Well, that's got rid of him.
Aye, but for how long?
It's no good you sitting there saying for how long, as if you're paying me to manage this business. If we want to keep this quiet, we'll have to stir ourselves and not go shouting like you Mariah did just then in front of that young chap.
Well, serves us right for saying we'd marry a set of numbskulls. If my poor mother were alive to see this day.
Oh, sorry, Annie, Clara. But when he asked me that question, something turned right over inside and I just started crying.
Well, there's no need to cry.
You're never satisfied, Clara. 1 minute you're going on at me for laughing and the next minute it's poor Mariah because she's crying.
Well, what are you laughing and crying for anyway? Where do you think this is? Uncle Tom's cabin?
Coming in.
Who was that? I said, who was it came just then?
Yorkshire Argus.
They know.
Of course we know.
And where are you going?
To fetch whiskey.
And is whiskey going to help us?
Well, I don't know about you, but it'll help me.
Stop it, you must be wrong in your head. Look! I blame you for this.
Didn't I tell you she was?
She? Who's she? The cat? Just remember you're talking about your own wife.
It's reet enough, I'm afraid. We put case to a chap at club, and he said as how it had happened a few times when Young parson thought he were qualified to wed folk, and then it turned out he weren't, but of course it hasn't happened often.
Yeah, well, it had to happen to us, didn't it? I told you, I blame you for this. I'm your cat, am I? Don't forget, you're talking about your own wife.
Ah, but you see, he isn't, not now.
Any lady like a drum?
State I'm ready to choke me.
Albert?
I think I will, Joe.
Albert?
No, he mustn't have any.
Albert?
You heard what I said? You are not to have any.
Thank you, Joe. Drop.
Yeah, but I never thought young Forbes would have gone back on his word. After promising solemnly not to tell another soul.
He didn't tell us.
Eh? Who did then?
Charwoman, Mrs. Northrop. She heard you behind that door.
Here, where is she?
Gone.
Mariah gave her the push.
Well, if she's gone off with this news, you just might as well play it on town hall chimes.
Why didn't you say so at first? If that woman gets round with this tale about us, well, we'll never live it down. Did she go home?
No, to Hare and Hounds.
Albert, swallow that whiskey quick and nip down to Hare and Hounds and bring her back.
I don't know her.
Nay, damn it, you saw it in here not half an hour since.
But she don't know me.
Now don't make difficulties, Albert, off you go. Get down there as fast as you can and bring her back and promise her out she asks as long as you get her back. Now off you go. Make it, we're all depending on you. You know, Albert, lad, it makes me feel most peculiar.
What does?
This, not being married.
Oh.
Joe Helliwell, how can you stand there and say a thing like that?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
What are you talking about?
After 25 years of marriage, haven't I been a good wife to you, Joe Helliwell?
Well, I'm not complaining, am I?
You've been the same as a good wife to him.
The same as a good wife? I haven't been the same as a good wife, Albert Parker, let me tell you, I have been a good wife.
Yeah, I never heard anything so silly.
Oh, and what's silly about it, eh?
Everything.
Nay, damn it. When you come to think of it, Albert's right.
We must face facts. Now, Mariah, you might feel married to him.
Might feel married to him? If you'd had 25 years of him, you wouldn't feel mine, haven't.
Steady on, we had 25 years of him talking about me as if I were a dose of typhoid fever.
And not Joe or
Now let me finish what I started to say. I said you might feel married to him, but strictly speaking, and in the eyes of the law, the fact is you're not married to him. We're none of us married.
Couldn't you shout it a bit louder? Some neighbours have missed it.
I wasn't. I wasn't that loud.
You were bawling your head off.
You don't know who's been listening. I'm surprised you haven't more sense, Albert.
All right, but we're not going to get anywhere unless we face facts. Now, it's not our fault, but our misfortune.
I don't know so much about that either.
Nah, go on and blame us now.
Well, and why not?
Nay, damn it, it weren't our fault.
If a chap asks me to marry him, takes me to chapel, puts me in front of Parson, I expect Parson to be a real and not somebody just dressed up.
Don't I?
You should have found out.
Talk sense. How were I to know he hadn't proper qualifications?
It's funny it's got to happen to us then, isn't
Well,
it?
that's what I say. It's not our fault, but our misfortune. No use blaming anybody. It just couldn't be helped. But fact remains...
Shut up, Albert Parker. If you say that again, I'll throw something at you. You have no need to go on and on and on about it.
Mostly at top of your voice.
Say no more. I'm finished.
Joe, you're not going to tell me you feel any different just because of this accident?
I won't tell you a lie, love, but I can't help it. Ever since I find out we're not married, I feel most peculiar.
Oh, I could knock your fat head off!
Well, I hope you're pleased with yourself.
Never interfere between husband and wife.
You just said you weren't husband and wife.
Here, if I'm going to argue with a woman, it may as well be the one I live with.
Well, after all these ructions, another glass of port wouldn't do me any harm. Thank you very much. Nice manners we're being shown, I must say. I said, nice manners, Councillor Albert Parker.
You know, if I were poor Herbert Soppit, I'd think twice before I asked you to marry me again.
Ask? There'll be no asking. Herbert Soppit's my husband and he stays my husband.
In the eyes of the law...
Oh, but let me tell you, Albert Parker, in the eyes of heaven, Herbert and me's been married for 25 years.
But that's where you're wrong again, because in the eyes of heaven, nobody's married at all.
Just come into the dining room a minute, Albert. We're having a bit of an argument.
Yes, Joe.
Hey, you silly young softies.
Mrs. Soppit?
Yes.
Mrs. Helliwell says, will you go to dining room? Ah, they're scratching like mad. All right, then come this way. Now, mind them things.
Nobody here. Nobody here at all.
No, they're mostly in dining room, scratching.
What on festive occasion like this?
That's right.
Yeah, I've got to show human nature is human nature. If it had been a funeral, they'd have all been down here laughing their heads off. Yeah, there isn't such a thing as a cigar, is there?
Yes, you're looking at them. Do you want one? Here. My mother said, if God had intended men to smoke, he'd put chimneys at the tops of their head.
Aye, well, you can tell your mother from me that if God had intended men to wear collars, he'd have put collars through the back of the necks. Why are you bobbing up and down like that?
I'm not bobbing up and down, it's you. You're a bit tiddly, aren't you?
Tiddly?
Yes, squiffy.
What an extraordinary idea. You're a most extraordinary little... Well, I don't know, really. What's your name?
Ruby Birtle.
Ruby.
I know, it's a silly daft name. There's nothing you can tell me about Ruby I haven't been told already, so don't try.
Ruby, you're most extraordinary. How old are you?
15. How old are you?
Oh, thousands of years. Thousands and thousands of years.
You look to me about 70.
70? I'm only 54.
Then you've been neglecting yourself. Too much lifting of elbow.
Here, have you ever read police news?
Yes. All horrible murders.
I would have seen them photographs of women that have been chopped up by their husbands.
Yes, with bloody hatchets.
Aye. Well, if you're not careful, you'll end up being growing up to be one of them women.
Ah, don't they look soft? How do you mean, one of them women?
Never you mind about that, Ruby. There's plenty of time yet.
Plenty of time for what?
Now, what I'm going to do is take group photograph, flashlight group, in same positions as they were 25 years since. Now, let me see.
I said, plenty of time for what?
Aye. Well,
Do
you just sit there a minute.
Do you mean there's plenty of time for me to grow up and be chopped up? But what would he want to chop me up for?
Oh, perhaps you might find one who wouldn't. But you'd better be careful, Ruby.
Are you going to take a photo?
Not for a few years yet.
Do you mean you're waiting for me to be chopped up? Even, you've got a real nasty mind, haven't you? Are you married?
I am.
Well, your wife doesn't seem to take much interest in you.
How do you know?
Well, your clothes look like they haven't been brushed for a month. You could make a meal off that waistcoat, there's that much egg on it. Why doesn't she tidy you up a bit?
Because she's not here to do it.
Doesn't she live with you?
Look, is it essential that you should know all about my private affairs?
Well, you might as well tell me. Where is she?
Well, if you must know, Mrs. Ormontroyd is at present helping her sister run boarding house called Palm View. Although only palm you ever see down there is when my sister-in-law lives out.
Where? Blackpool?
Not likely. There's a place you go to live in, not to die in. Oh, Torquay. Torquay.
Nice, read down south, isn't it?
Yes, my girl. Torquay is on south coast of Devonshire. It's sheltered from the northerly and easterly winds. It's open to the warm sea breezes from the south. And so it's a favourite all-year-round resort of delicate and refined persons of genteel society. In other words, it's a damn miserable hole. There we are, all ready for 3 happy couples.
Did you say happy?
Why not?
Well, for start, go and listen to them four in dining room.
Believe me, Rosie.
Ruby.
Ruby, believe me, you're too young to understand.
I've heard that before, and I still don't know what it is I'm too young to understand. And for years, my brother kept rabbits.
Rabbits? It's not a question of rabbits, thank God.
I want to hear more about this.
Very sensible of you. You see, if a gentleman friend gets fond of me, then tells me, more than once, that if he hadn't been married already, he'd marry me.
Go on.
Helliwell, you're not a member of my congregation. I feel that I'd like you to know that I can give you any help that you require.
I don't think I understand, Mr. Mercer.
Oh, well, just stay calm, Mrs. Helliwell, and take a seat. May I have a seat as well?
Yes.
Did someone ask you to come?
Yes, madam. A man I know called Northrop stopped me in the street and told me at once to go to Alderman Helliwell's house as the presence of a clergyman was urgently required. So, I came at once. Not, I hope, a really dangerous illness.
No.
Oh, I hurried because I thought it wasn't. Oh well, perhaps some younger member of the household in urgent need of spiritual guidance, an erring son or daughter?
No.
No?
No, not erring sons and daughters, just husbands.
Oh,
You've got it all wrong.
I don't understand.
I think they want you to marry him.
To marry her?
Do something. You need to talk to Mr. Helliwell.
I think I do.
He's in dining room.
Right,
Just
go on, see, straight away.
ask him if there's anything you can do for us. That's fine, in there.
Hey, which one was it?
Oh, I think you missed a chance there. At least two of you did.
Two of us?
Well, you remember what I told you? I met him here in Clecklewyke, but it were Blackpool really got him. He said he were feeling lonely, and you know what men are when they think they're feeling lonely, especially at Blackpool.
Oh, well, it couldn't have been Herbert. He's never been to Blackpool without me.
Yes, he has, Clara. Don't you remember? About 4 years since.
And he said he never had a minute free from that conference. I never believe another word he says. Hey, but your Albert were with him that time.
I know he were.
So was Joe. Said he needed a change.
Well, we all like a change, don't we?
Well, Herbert Socket.
Miss Clara.
Oh, hello, Herbert. How are you these days?
I think there's been a mistake.
There's been a mistake, all right.
Now, don't be too hard on him, Clara. I expect it was only a bit of fun.
What's all this?
No.
And don't call me Herbert.
No, wait till I know to wait.
Oh, I suppose it would be it.
Mean what? Oh, Albert, I found out Mrs. Northrop. Oh.
Oh, hello.
How do you mean, hello, Albert?
You might well look at me, Albert Parker. You and your cheap holidays in Blackpool. Well, I just hope you spent more on her than you ever did on me.
Spent more on her? I've never set eyes on her before. Who is she?
I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
There's Motorcat stopping out near front gate. Oh, well, tell him to go away then.
What, we a photographer who's drunk and a person that's mad? Lawson!
What hasn't been happening here, we've had some trade on with one thing and another. He didn't start it, did he? Because if he did, he's got something to answer for.
Did anybody ask where I was with it?
No, but you can stay out all night and then neither know nor care.
What has been happening, Ruby?
Place has been like a madhouse this last half hour. To start with, Mary Clecklewyke's bleeding got.
Oh, Mayor.
I want to bring a mare into it for.
Nobody brought him. He came of his own accord with a case of fish things wearing a chain like a chapping panty man. He soon took us up, but reporters didn't.
Reporters, eh?
I
nearly go for a whole hour.
You two seem very friendly tonight.
I believe you were the young girl he was seen with.
Were you?
Yes. We're practically engaged, you know. Only I was too scared to say anything yet to Uncle Joe.
Well, I shouldn't start tonight, though.
Nay, why shouldn't you? He won't be so pleased with himself tonight, just as I know another one who won't be.
Good night.
Good night. Why don't you go out to the garden and say good night properly? You're only young once. You're only young once, Herbert. Do you remember that time when you first came to Clecklewyke and we went on the quiet trip to Barnard Castle?
Aye, I remember. And I fancy I were a bit sweet on you then.
You fancy you were. I know you were, Herbert. Do you remember coming back in the wagonette?
Aye.
Those were the days.
Aye.
Isn't that what you can say?
No! I fancy I might say too much.
I'd risk it if I were you.
What do you mean by that, Annie?
Never you mind. But you do remember coming back in the wagonette?
Of course I remember.
And how long's this been going?
Don't be silly, Clara.
Silly! I come in here and find my husband's arm round you as bold as brass and I'm not to be silly. I wonder what you'd call that sort of behaviour then.
It's only a bit of fun.
Oh. And how long have you been having these bits of fun, Urban Summit?
You've a nasty mind, Clara.
Well, of all the cheek and impudence, how long have you been going on to get him to carry on like that with you? And don't tell me he thought of it himself, because I know him too well.
Don't be so stupid, Clara. I'm going in the garden. I want some fresh air.
Oh, why don't you follow her? You go and get some fresh air. Go on, don't mind me. Come here! I said, come here.
Why should I?
Because I said so.
Who do you think you are?
Well, I think you'd better go home and leave me to deal with this business here.
Certainly not.
Well, in my opinion, it's awkward with both of us being here.
Well, you go home then.
What did you say?
I said you go home. You're doing no good here.
Now then, you tell me to go home again.
There. I've always said that no matter what she did, I'd never live down to me wife.
I should think not indeed.
But as you're not me wife, how about this? Sit down! And shut up!
There's something you must have got wrong in your end.
Nay, not me, I'm all right.
Well, you've never gone on like this before.
Before you were me wife.
I'm your wife now.
Oh, no, you're
Oh, give me that letter.
not. Shut up!
Here's Annie.
Out there, why don't you go and look for her?
Perhaps she's hiding her face, because if you'd seen what
Watch
I'd
your
seen...
tongue before it gets you into mischief.
You hold on a minute, I want to hear more about
And you're going to get excited then, aren't you? You back to the Ryer Helliwell now.
Here, Clara, you're not going to...
Mind their own business. Go sharp.
Albert, have you been having a lot to drink?
I had one or two looking for Mrs. Northrop, aye?
Thought as much.
And I'll probably have a drop more as well. But whether I do or not, I'll please myself. And if you don't like it, You can lump it.
Where did you say my wife was?
Out in the garden.
What, at this time of
And
night?
why not?
I'll tell her that. I've no need to tell you. You're not my wife.
No, I'm neither she either.
Annie! Hey, Annie!
Why don't you go out and talk to her instead of shouting at her like a dog or something?
Because standing about in damp grass at this time of night is bad for me. I don't want to start a running cold on top of all this. Hey, Annie! I came in here for a quiet word in private with her.
Oh, right, I'll leave you then.
In my opinion, there's been a great deal too much talk among us altogether about this daft business. Too much noisy hanky-panky. Aye. You might have thought we were a meeting at gas committee where we've gone on so far. Now, what's needed is a few quiet words in private between us chaps and our wives, and less of this public argy-bargy and hanky-panky. Oh, so there you are.
Best to look at.
Now, what's that mean?
Hanky-panky.
He's had a drop too much, Herbert has. Comes a running round town after that jar woman.
Well, Albert.
Oh, well, Annie. I'm going to set your mind at rest.
Thank you, Albert.
Yes, I don't want you to be worrying. Now, I think you'll admit I've always tried to do my duty as husband.
Yes, you've always tried, Albert.
What's that mean?
Why? Just whatever you mean, Albert.
Oh. Of course, as nobody knows better than you, I'm in a different position altogether to what I was when I first married you.
When you thought you'd married me.
Well, you know what I mean. In them days, I were just plain young Albert Parker.
And now you're Councillor Albert Parker.
Aye, and that's summat, isn't it? And that's not all be a long joke. Aye, I got on in business, made money, come to be big man at chapel, vice president of cricket league, aye, on hospital committee, aye, and so forth.
Yes, Albert. You've done very well.
Aye, I know I have. And mind you, it's not altered me much. I'm not like some of them. No swank about me. No la-di-da. I'm a plain man.
Yes, you are.
Well, what's wrong with you, dear? You're not going to tell me that at your time of
That's
life...
my time of life.
Well, you're no chicken, are you? And I say, you're not going to tell me that at your time of life you'd like a bit of swank and la-di-da.
I'd sometimes wonder.
Nay, nay, nay. Nobody knows better than me what you like. And you know what a good husband I've always been to you. Steady.
Yes, you've been steady, Albert.
That's what I say. Steady. Reliable. Not silly with me money.
Oh, no. Not even your worst enemy could say you were silly with your money.
And yet at the same time, not stingy. Oh, no, not stingy. Everything of the best, if it could be managed. Everything of the best within reason, you know. Within reason.
Yes, within reason.
Always reasonable and reliable, but all the time getting on, going up in the world, never satisfied with what to do for ordinary men. Nay, moving steadily on and on and up and up. cashier, manager, share in the business. Councillor this year, Alderman next. Perhaps mayor soon. Aye, that's the way it's been, and that's how it will be. Hey, you know, Annie, I sometimes think that right at first you didn't realise just what you picked out at Lucky Bag.
Well, Albert, where's this leading to?
Oh, well, I was just saying what a good husband I thought I'd always been to you. And mind you, I don't say you've been a bad wife. No, I don't say that.
Thank you, Albert.
So, I thought I'd like to just set your mind at rest. Now, I don't want you to be worrying about this wedding business. If there's been a slip-up, well, there's been a slip-up. But I'll see you're all right, Annie. I'll see that it's all fixed up quietly, and then we can go out and get married again properly. I know my duty as well as next man, and I'll see you're married to me properly.
Thank you, Albert.
It's all right, Annie. That's all right. Don't say as every man would say it way I do, but I know what my duty is.
But what about me?
Well, I said you'll be all right.
How do you know I will?
Don't be silly, Annie. You ought to know by now. When I say you'll be all right, well, you will be all right.
But I don't think I want to be married to you any longer.
What?
I think after 25 years, I've had enough.
Had enough?
Yes, had enough. You talk about your duty. Well, for 25 years, I've done my duty. I've washed and scrimped and saved for you. I've cleaned and mended for you. I've listened for hours and hours and hours to your dreary talk. I've never had any thanks. I've hardly had any fun. But I thought I was your wife and had taken you for better or worse. And I had to put up with you.
Put up with me?
Yes, put up with you.
But what's wrong with me?
Well, for a start off, you're very selfish. But then I suppose most men are. You're very, very conceited. But then again, I suppose most men are. But some men are amusing. But you're not amusing. Only when you're pompous and showing off. And some men, at least, are generous. But you're just very dull and very dreary.
Nay, never.
Yes, Albert. Very dull and very, very dreary. And stingy.
Has somebody put you up to this?
Oh no, I've thought about it for a long time.
How long?
Nearly 25.
Why, you little serpent!
So I thought I'd go off and have some of this fun before I become an old woman.
Fun? Fun? What do you mean, fun?
Oh, nothing too terrible. Just like getting away from you, for
Stop it! No, just stop it now! Annie Parker, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Well, I'm not. A bit of fun, and people are amusing. And no more town deacons or town councillors or wool business.
Why don't you dye your hair and paint your face and go on stage and wear tights?
I wish I could.
Mr. Suffolk says, if you haven't finished
must just talk sense for a minute.
The door's open, they'll hear you.
Oh, damn it! Oh.
What's made you look so flabbergasted?
If I want to look flabbergasted, I'll look flabbergasted without asking a word, but stop it.
Frankie?
Now shut up! Here, Clara.
Any enough? I want to keep my wits about me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ah, that's better. First of the day.
Really?
Well, not counting those for medicinal purposes.
Commander, may I confide in you?
Well, if you must, but please try and keep it simple. There's only so much one can absorb in one day.
Seems to me you absorb quite a lot.
What you have to do in this job, it's always problems.
Problems?
Now, what can I do for you?
Well, to be frank, I'm rather suspicious about my son-in-law's golfing holidays. You know, wondering if he might be playing around with another woman.
Well, there are lots of good women golfers around.
I didn't mean that.
Oh, here we go again. What did you mean?
I meant playing around with another woman.
Yes, so you said. 1 round or 7?
Having an affair with another woman.
On the golf course? Well, so long as they keep it in the rough.
Come on, you try to get your mind off golf.
Oh, that's easily done. Can't stand the game. Boring.
That's exactly what Henry used to say, but now he shoots off twice a year, ostensibly to play golf with his friend Piers Marchbanks.
Getting a bit old for squash, perhaps?
Yes, but not for the roving eye. Now, my daughter Catherine is somewhat naive in these matters, and she believes in him implicitly. I may be an old cynic, but I thought I'd seize on this opportunity of dropping in unexpectedly and possibly catching him out.
But you caught him in, so no worry there.
On the surface, everything seems to be as it should be, and I hope you can confirm that it is.
Well, yes, I think so. Apart from the typical Portuguese problems with staff and curtains.
Problems?
They keep falling down.
The staff?
No, the curtains.
Oh, Commander, do you think we might return to the point?
Well, we can but try. What was it?
Oh dear, you put it right out of my mind.
Was it something to do with your drink problem?
I do not have a drink problem, Colonel Wagstaff.
Why did I think my name was Chitty? Splendid. Well done. Now, where were we?
I know. My son-in-law.
And his name is...
Henry Charlesworth.
Oh, well done. You're spot on.
Now, I take it that I've nothing to worry about concerning his behaviour here.
Absolutely.
Good, splendid. So, I can carry on with an easy mind. Now then, I don't have to tell you that this conversation never took place.
Didn't it? What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about my son-in-law, but I want you to forget it.
Well, I have. That's why I'm asking you. Would you like a drink?
No, I can't. I've even finished this one. It's enormous.
By Jove, yes, it is rather. Did I warn you about the old Portuguese problem?
Yes, you did. You poured it for me.
It doesn't seem to have sunk in. That is a very hefty drink, madam.
It is, and it's you who poured it for me.
Are you sure?
Commander, do you suffer from amnesia?
I forget.
Well, I want you to remember what we've said about this conversation.
Certainly. What was it?
Forget it. Just forget it.
Mum, Potts, the sandwiches are...
I'm rather worried about your Mrs. Parrot here.
Aren't I'm worried, but why are you?
Well, for a start, did you see the size of that drink you're Mrs. Pigeon because she's certainly put the cat among the partridges.
Yes, well, the lady I introduced to my wife is in fact my girlfriend. And it won't have escaped your notice that she's also Maria the maid.
You mean you took one step in here, looked at the maid, and it was love at first sight?
No, Commander, we've been going steady for 2 years.
2 years? How's old Pedro feel about it?
There isn't a Pedro.
Oh, yes, there is.
Yes, but he's married to the other Maria.
What other Maria?
The real Maria. But don't worry about Pedro, he doesn't come into it. Let's stick with Maria, who of course isn't Maria at all, but was introduced to you as Mrs. Charlesworth, which of course she isn't either. Her name is Mary. The other couple, Colonel Sir Piers and Lady Marchbanks, are in fact Leslie and Eve Smith. Marchbanks, Smith that is, and I are here on our usual golfing holiday. But of course, Marchbanks isn't here at all. He's in the Algarve with his bird. Still, we've got to keep up the deception until there's no danger of Mrs. Partridge acting as a stool pigeon.
Abandoned ship!
Do you want me to go through today?
No!
I think I've got a little trouble in there, excuse me. Oh, and Commander, I need hardly remind you that this conversation never took place.
Miss Magado, I may sleep in the morning, stop. So if you don't get this message, you'll know why, stop. Excuse me, stop. Come in, stop. Oh, sorry, there's somebody at the door, stop. That is not the door stop, the door stop. Oh, do shut up. Come in.
Thousand apologies. I know I'm the last person you expected to see right now, but the fact is, there's been a catastrophic cock-up.
What?
I'm awfully sorry. I thought you'd be pinky.
Well, I quite often am, but I tell you not to worry. It's probably only blood pressure.
No. I thought you'd be Pinky Charlesworth.
Pinky.
Yes, he's Pinky and I'm Perky. Sounds silly, I know. Dates from our school days at Harrow. Always first of our heads in the trough.
Pinky and Perky. Sounds vaguely familiar.
This is the right place. He's got a timeshare in this fella. He's about so high. He could be wearing a tie like mine. Harrow, without the egg on it.
Ah, Harrow, right. Colonel Sir Piers Marchbank, right?
Amazing. How could you possibly know?
Well, it's rather an unusual name, and for once it sort of stuck.
In that case, you're obviously in dear old Pinky's confidence about the little arrangement we have about the week of so-called golf together.
Golf. Here we go again.
Yes, golf. He with his girlfriend, Mary.
Mary.
Mary and me with my little bird in the Algarve.
Algarve?
Unfortunately, mine threw a tantrum last night.
A tantrum?
And a few other things, and now she's pushed off.
Off?
So I obviously can't go back to my wife in England because that would drop poor old Pinky in it with his. So I've